Lecha Dodi is on page 21. And I think I've told you before that there's a door right behind me that anyone can bust through at any time. So if you have a door in your room, I invite you to open it up and invite the Shabbat bride to come in and dwell. I won't get up because I would have to stop the service, but if you can imagine my door opening, I should have opened it before the service. That would have been nice. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmi'anu el hamilchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem ultiferet v'lithilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mikor habaracha mirosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitori kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai ayik nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha uvetzohala toch emuneh am segula boi chala Lecha Dodi likrat kala Adonai, 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 B'nai Shabbat, Nekabela, Lechadori, Nikrat Kalai, Adonai, 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 B'nai Shabbat, Nekabela. Da 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 da, ay da 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 da, ay da 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 da, ay da 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 da. Page 23, toward the, well, I think it's toward the bottom of the page. Tov lechodot ladonai. Zamel Shimcha Elyon, Tov lehodot ladonai, ulizamel Shimcha Elyon, lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot, lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot. Tov lehodot ladonai, ulizamel Shimcha Elyon. Tov lehodot ladonai, ulizamel Shimcha Elyon. Lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot. Lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot, lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot, lehagid babochecha slicha, ve'emunatcha banelot. Ma gadlu ma'asecha ya me'od amchu ma'asavotecha, ma gadlu Ma'asecha ya me'od amchu makshivotecha. So Meg, we are ready for the Yart site list, and then we'll pray the Mourner's Kaddish.
Would you like me to read both?
Yeah, why don't you do both of them, and then we will say Kaddish. Yeah.
Great. This week, Beth Israel congregation observes the Yart sites of Daniel Ashley, Alan Checkaway, and Thomas Easthope, who are all having their first Yart site, as well as Jean Berkowitz, Blanche Bernstein Cohen, Goldie Chudikoff, Muriel Cohen, Helen Grossman Cohen, Ann Donison, Martin Fainblatt, Rosalind Frey, Meshulam Gaffney, Abba Ginsberg, Jack Goldman, Shane Ogonik, Mildred Hafter, Henry Thomas IV, Minnie Ingber, Samuel Kotlicki, Bernard Lando, Lillian Lipnick Cohen, Arthur Mendel, Neil Millman, Rose Moscow, Sarah Neiman, Gertrude Perlov, Ellen Rosen Rashes, Jack Roth, Edward Rothberg, Alexander Rothberg, Rosella Routman, Ray Schaefer, Rosalind Schiff, Sarah Rachel Schindler, Robert Strausberg, Mary Weisenthal, Joyce Wodka, Zvi Zeliger, and Charles Zimmerman, as well as those who are continuing to say Kaddish for Zelig Cutler, Victor Rosenberg, Doris Doctor, Lorraine Nadelman, Nelson Stewart Schaefer, Avram Shore, Mark Lieberman, Ruth Neiman Gray, Elaine Stoller, Natalie Scher, Philip Brader, Susan Feingold Schultz, Judith Cashton, Lorraine Sherman, Michael Adams, Leona Leon, Phyllis Werbel, Fanchon Lessing, Carol Feinerman, David Fowman, and Bruce Thal.
All right, thank you, Meg. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 24, and if you will rise, if you are saying Kaddish, you also can feel free to unmute so that we can say it together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divrach yirutei v'amlik malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dekol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach lelam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushvechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehesh lama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'momav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. So let's transition into our Mariv service, and I invite you to turn to page 28. Na da 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 da. Na da 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 da. Ya da da ya da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Adonai Hoshia Melech Yaneinu V'yom Koreinu Baruch at Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umabdil ben yom uven layla. Adonai tzvahot shemo el chai v'chayam tamidim lo chalenu le'olam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We're on page 28, on page 29 for Ahavat Olam. And as we go into this prayer, I want to talk a little bit about the Parsha this week. It is the famous golden calf incident, which the rabbis say we still encounter in our peoplehood to this day. We've never quite recovered from the golden calf incident. And you have to ask, what was so serious about that incident? What was it that still permeates who we are today? But if you look at the text, I think what it was that it was kind of the ultimate betrayal of our people to God. So we've left Mitzrayim, the narrow place, and we have crossed the sea and been delivered from chariots and horses and slavery. And we've wandered a bit in the desert, but not for a long time. And Moses leaves for just a little while. And he's just a few hours late. In the text, it looks like he's not very late. It's maybe less than a day. And we just completely gave up on God. We said, Moses isn't coming back. We don't know what's happened to him. And so we need to find someone else. We can't do this on our own. And I think that had to do a little bit with the fact that we were just slaves in Egypt right before this, and still probably had a bit of a slave mentality. So what did we do? We just found someone else. It's a pretty quick changeover from claiming that we have a God who we love and serve to suddenly fashioning an idol to worship. So God has promised us that in forgiving us for the golden calf incident, we have to know that we are loved, and we are loved by a God who we can betray at times, but who will never leave us and will never betray us. So in our prayers, we sing Ahavat Olam. We're loved by an unending love. We can do things in our lives that are disappointing to others and to ourselves and to our God. And God will never give up on us. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Avat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah umitzvot, chukim umishpatim, otanu limata. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu ukumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ve'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. So we will now proclaim that our God is one. And so I believe this week the Shema resonates a little bit louder than it has in the past, because after the incident of the golden calf, Moses came back down from the mountain and saw what had happened. And he broke the tablets. And the people were struck by the anger that he displayed. And then he went back up and he wrote the tablets again, and he came back down and he said, there is no God but our God. That is one of the 10 commandments. And so the Shema proclaims that strongly, that this is our one God, our God alone. So I invite you to clear your mind and your heart and imagine that you are there at Sinai for the first time, proclaiming, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'laktecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotefot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem l'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. So I'll take us back in time a little bit to the crossing of the sea. And we are on page 32. So at this time, when we crossed the sea, we stood on the edge, and we had deep faith at that time because we saw the miracles that were performed. We saw the plagues, and we were ready for one of the biggest miracles of our people's story. And that is when we called out to God and we were delivered across the sea. I remember when I was a little kid, I thought it was probably really muddy. But I think actually the land was dry. That was part of it, that we crossed on dry land. I think that's part of what miracles are like. The breath of God not only removed all of the water from the sea, but all of the puddles, all of the soggy mud that we would have trampled through. Ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nidar b'kodesh nora tehilot osefaleh nora tehilot osefaleh malechutecha ra'uvanecha bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam tehihanu v'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah I'm not sure how much snow you all had last night, but I live in the Lansing area. We had about 3 inches. And we live a little out in the country, and so we didn't have school today. My kids had a snow day. But when they went to bed last night, they didn't know that was going to happen. Sometimes we wake up in the morning, we have a happy surprise. And sometimes we wake up in the morning and it's not a happy surprise. But when we go to bed at night, we're not really sure what the next day holds for us, and we're not really sure of the things that can happen to us in the nighttime. But we can be sure that if we pray our Hashkivenu prayer, whatever happens at night happens with the wings of Shekhinah spread over us like a sukkah. Page 33. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. And now we will answer the call to guard Shabbos with Vishamru on page 34. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. B'nei Ruvain, b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uv'yom hashvihi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Right, our Chatzi Kaddish is on page 34. And let me take a second to turn to that page. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabbah ve'almad yivrach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam l'almei amaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrama v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha barichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yama v'imru amen. So I invite you now to take a few minutes to pray silently on page 35b, and then we'll come back on page 47 in a few minutes, and we will say the concluding blessings together. If you're still praying, do not feel pressured to finish. I'll give you a little time. We'll sing Shalom Rav while you finish. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. So we are on page 47 in our Siddur, and don't want my guitar to fall over, so I'm going to place it gently where it should be. And we'll start at the top of the page, and I will just read this in English on the left side. The heavens and the earth and all they contain were completed. On the seventh day, God finished the work God had been doing, and ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and called it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim va'aretz. Magen Avot bidvaro, Mechayei metim b'ma'amaro, Ha'el Hakadosh she'en kamohu, Hameniach Lamo b'yom Shabbat kodsho, kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, lefanav na'avot b'yirav v'fachat, v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, me'on habrachot El ha'oda'ot Adon ha'shalom, Mekadesh ha'shabbat, u'mevarech shvi'i, u'meniach b'kedusha, la'am medushe oneg zecher la'ma'aseh v'reishit. Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness, and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so that we might serve you faithfully. Lovingly and willingly, Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people Israel, who hallow your name, will always find rest on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. And our Kaddish is on page 48. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivarach yedutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayed kol beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'izman kori v'himru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'amaya, yitbarach. Yitbarak v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha, barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'oma v'himru, Amen. Titgabal tzlotahon, uv'tahon dekol beit Yisrael, kaodam avohon devishmaya v'himru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'kol Yisrael v'himru, Amen. Osei shalom b'mumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'kol Yisrael v'himru, Amen. If you turn to page 51, we will, and then rise for Aleinu. And I like to pause here and remind us that Aleinu means it is upon us. And so what is upon us this week? I think it's upon us to remember who we serve and who our God is. Our God is not an idol. Our God is not a thing. Our God is so much bigger than that. We are called to love our God. We are called to love one another. We're not called to love things or status or any other form of idolatry. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, latet gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol amonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ ומושב ישרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגוף המרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו All right, Meg, I will, you read all of the lists, correct? So we can go straight into the Kaddish. All right. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss anyone. I was sharing with Meg before this that I like to have her read the list, and that's because if I'm leading the service, I've got a lot going on in my mind, and it's really important that we get the Kaddish list right. And I also want to share that I have lost people in my life, and I know how it feels to have that name read, and I know how it feels when that name isn't read, and this is something that is very important to our community, and that we recognize those who we've lost and that we're praying for when we say Kaddish. So please, if there's anyone actually I'll just give this an opportunity, if there's anyone who was left off the name and you would like me to say their name quickly before we say Kaddish, you could put that in the chat right now, and I will do that. So I'll give you just a second. Or you can unmute and say the name if there's anyone as well.
My father's name is Thomas Henry IV. Sometimes I guess people might say Henry Thomas, but that would be backwards.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. I'm glad we got that. Thank you. I'm sure that's important to you.
My mother, Judy Flappin.
All right, thank you, Valerie. Okay. All right, so I invite you to rise once more for the Mourner's Kaddish, and it's on page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chidute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dekol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudisha barichu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Amen. All right, Meg, would you like me to take us into our Adon Olam, or would you like to do announcements first and then we would sing at the end? It's whatever you would prefer for your announcements.
Let me do announcements quickly before we end the service. We have a lot coming up. If you need to schedule a meeting with Rav Nadav, please email crabbi@bethisrael-aa.org and Sam will set up a meeting for you. This Saturday, tomorrow, directly after the service, starting about 12:15, Rav Nadav will continue his lecture series on contemporary Jewish law. I do not know what he will be lecturing about tomorrow, so if you attend, it'll be an adventure for us all. I don't know if you've attended in the past, but he's delved into some pretty important questions for us to answer as a movement. On Monday, February 14th at 4 p.m., we have Talmud study with Rabbi Doberson. No previous Talmud study experience is necessary. They do study the text in its original Hebrew / Aramaic form, but you don't need to have any previous knowledge. They also study it in English. If you want to join, that would be really fun. On Sunday, February 27th at 1 p.m., we have the Social Action Committee's book club. BIC reads. They're doing The Sum of Us, which I guess is a really good book. I honestly haven't read it, but they are very interested in having new voices join in, so you still have time to read that. March 3rd through the 5th, we have the Rosenberg Scholar in Residence Weekend. We are welcoming Deborah Sachs-Mintz to Beth Israel. There are a lot of events that go along with that, so be sure to check the website. I also want to mention that you should save the date. We have 2 Purim events coming up in March. On the 13th, which is a Sunday, we will be hosting a Living Megillah Walk in County Farm Park. This is an all ages event. It's very family friendly. We are partnering with Temple Beth Emeth to host that event. There will be more information forthcoming. Also, on the evening of March 16th, which is Erev Purim, we'll host a family-friendly Purim service followed by a full Megillah reading. And then finally, I am putting together a women's Shabbat. Men are also welcome to attend, but I'd like to have all female identifying participants for the 100th anniversary of the Bat Mitzvah. This is on March 19th. So if you would like to do part of the service, there are a ton of things that I can have you do. You don't have to necessarily know Hebrew. Please contact me at meg@bethisrael-aa.org. I would love to have you participate. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Meg. And I just want to let you all know this is the last time I'll be leading this service regularly. I was doing this temporarily. It was never supposed to be long-term, just so that Rav Nadav could have some Shabbats with his family and have some time off. And then he is going to be creating some new programming with, I believe, Reb Ora Ahuvia, who is a rabbi friend of mine there in Ann Arbor. And so she's delightful, and you are in for a treat. So I have bridged the space and time, and I'm sure I'll see you around also. So, but I really appreciate spending these Shabbats over the past 3 or I think 4 months with you. And I'm sure I'll see you and other times as well. So let's just sing a fun Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'Chefzo Kol, Zay Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Chaya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Hiye B'Tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'Chefzo Kol, Zay Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lechakbira Adon Olam, Ve'li Reishit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'Chefzo Kol, Zay Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lechakbira Adon Olam, Ve'li Reishit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'Chefzo Kol, Zay Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Eli, Ve'chai Goali, Ve'tzuchev li Be'et Sara Adon Olam, Ve'hu Nisi, Humanos li, Menat Kosi Be'yom Mikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'Chefzo Kol, Zay Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. All right, I actually skipped the last verse of the, let's go for it. I just realized, I thought that was a little too short. I'm just doing it by memory though. Beyado Avchi Ruchi, תישן והעירה אדון עולם, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדון לי ולא עירה אדון עולם, אדון עולם. אשר מלך בטרם כל, יציר נברא להתנסה, וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. We can't leave any verses out of Adon Olam. That would be not good. So, all right, thank you all, and have a wonderful Shabbos. As I've said before, I'm sure I will get no challah at all because my kids eat it while I'm not down there. So, but that's fine. Their tummies are full, and I hope you enjoyed your challah, or you will, and have a wonderful, peaceful Shabbos.
Thank you so much, Devorah, for
Very,
leading.
very
Really
much.
a joy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Good to see the kids, Safi.
Ready? Yeah.